Hello and welcome back to the Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm really good. If of course you are enjoying the show, then please do like, share and subscribe. Any support is much appreciated. Have a look down in the description and you've got a link to SuperSorrell's channel as well. A guy needs no introduction, but obviously go give him a follow as well. If you are listening on the podcast, then please do check the links in the description of the podcast and give our channels a follow as well. So we've had a pretty big week this week.
Very big week. And the one thing we didn't even mention when we were talking before the show is obviously Bad Batch as well to talk about this week, because that was a good episode.
Yes. So just in a nutshell, for the sake of the beginning of the video, we're going to cover the Black Series reveals that we've had. We're going to cover the FanFirst Friday announcement. We're going to talk about Bad Batch. We're going to talk about the penultimate episode of Loki. And of course, we're going to talk about the very long awaited and well overdue Black Widow MCU movie, plus anything else that's just taken our fancy. So let's jump straight in with Black Series stuff. Out of all of the things that were announced, which one took your fancy the most?
Oh, I think it's the Cantina one. I do like that, but I am also looking towards that vintage Emperor as well. I can't decide between the two. I love a good playset, me. I do love a good playset as a 90s
and it's
kid.
it's something that the Black Series, the Hasbro team at Black Series, seem to really be jumping on board with, but not so much with the other brands that they cover.
Have you noticed? Well, this is, I think, because the Cantina one's 6 inches, and it's a 6-inch figures, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So from what I've seen, so I mean, that's the first time we've had a proper play set for the 6-inch figures as well, isn't it? Normally it's been the 3-inch vintage stuff.
Just testing the waters, perhaps, I guess. I mean, the thing is they said obviously a play set. I mean, for anybody that's not seen, I'll whack a picture up anyway, but we've got the Cantina Showdown, which is from A New Hope, I believe. It's from that very first film, isn't it? And it's got, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi as the Ben Kenobi figure. It's got, correct me if my names are wrong here, because your knowledge is probably a lot better than mine, but it's Dr. Evazan, is it that they called that character? And Panda Boba or Bamba or something like that. But they were background characters that obviously got given names and backstories as it picked up.
We're wanted men.
That's it. That is it. I must admit, it grabbed my attention. But the thing that frustrated me as a collector, I suppose, is Ben Kenobi, just because I've already got that version of him. And I'm sure there's going to be tweaks and stuff, and it will be a much nicer, updated version of the figure. But I kind of chased him for a while.
From what I can see from the images, they've basically done the same mod that all of us did. So basically, you got that 50th anniversary Ben head and put it on the old body.
Yep.
And there's a new Ben.
That's it. So I kind of want it. And the Cantina element of it is, it's not a play set in the, as in like a Castle Grayskull kind of play set, is it? It literally is a bar, but for displays. And
I'm wondering whether this is the start and when the bar's going to be first, and then because we've already got Greedo coming, are they then going to release Han in the chair with his foot up as like another play set piece, and they slowly build together to build the Cantina itself?
How amazing would that be? Build a scene.
Build a scene. I'd be down for that.
Oh, I think that'd be brilliant. Well, listen, if it does take off, you called it first, all right? So claim that commission. I think it's a good set, though. I think it's nice, and I think especially for anybody that's a new collector, having that Ben Kenobi, that Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of readily available. Because I was thinking as well, I think one of the reasons they may have come up with this one is because I think in the near future, everybody's wanting Slave Leia re-released, or Hutt Slayer as they now call her. That's it, yeah. Everybody's wanting a new version of that. So I'm wondering whether they're going to give us the old Jabba the Hutt that we used to have in this, like with that MODOK style face that you can pull off like the Marvel Legends MODOK and put different expressions on him. So you can actually have her stood behind him with the chain choking him and have the alternate face with the tongue out and stuff. That would be amazing. I must admit, Jabba the Hutt is one character that is definitely lacking from my collection. It's because it's so hard to get. I think it was San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, wasn't it? It's so hard to get. I mean, I've seen them pop up on, eBay and community groups on Facebook and stuff, but I just can't justify it. I can't justify the price that people are rightfully so asking for. It's a sought after a figure, but I'm really hoping we're going to get some kind of reissue at some point, which I think we are, and that would be an amazing one, wouldn't it? Just interchangeable. Yeah, no, that'd be brilliant.
With the slave layer and like another little builder scene almost. You could have that entire little setup.
Because I had that back in the day, like the original, Jabba the Hutt kind of, I don't know, I can't remember what they call it, but the gates that open up like under the floor. And I remember that set so vividly as a kid, and it was one of my favourite play sets. I wish I still had it because it'd be worth a bomb, wouldn't it? But I just, so for me, as a kind of like a nostalgic element, I would love them to do a new version with that whole setup that kind of moves and all stuff. So yeah, but going back to what has been announced as opposed to our wishful thinking, that cantina is definitely, I mean, the price point for it, I've only seen kind of nods to sort of around the $100 mark.
Yeah, but
so
nothing official.
£200, won't it?
I got the official release, but there were no prices. All we've got is that it's coming out in fall. That's the only information I received from Hasbro.
I saw one. I can't even remember who it was, but somebody put a price point of something like $110 or something like that, which is quite steep for sort of three figures and a bit of bar. But
246. I mean, 60 alone is for the figures.
Yeah.
The bar set, I know what you mean, though. It's expensive for a little bit of a plastic bar, isn't it?
But what I must admit that I'd like about the Black Series figures what they're doing with this, for example, is that if you are an in-box collector, which I'm definitely not, obviously you can see from both of our collections, we're not in-box collectors. But for an in-box collector, it's set up, isn't it?
I do have a price.
Set up. Do you? Have you got one? Have you got one?
I've just opened up the email from Hasbro. I've got the Hasbro fall 2021 one sheet. It's called the Star Wars Black Series Power of the Force Cantina Showdown playset is approximate retail price of $104.99. Will be available from fall 2021. More to be announced during the HasCon later this year.
Amazing. But it looks fantastic in box. That's a nice thing.
It's that 50th anniversary packaging along with the Power of the Force new update logo. It does look very nice. Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned there the vintage Emperor's Throne playset. Now this is a playset I thought was much better. That whole window backing part and the throne. And if that was 6-inch, that would have been absolutely delicious. But it's not. It's the 3 3/4 inch, is it?
3 3/4 inch, but the throne itself looks like it's been shrunken down from the one that they gave us in the 6-inch. I think it's the same throne, just shrunk, basically.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, it makes sense if they've got the mold there already. Another character that is missing from my Star Wars collection, I regret to say, just because, again, I couldn't justify the price point that people are asking. So I'm hoping for some kind of retro-y callback re-release at some point. Nice figure. I don't collect 3 3/4 inch, so it's kind of a pass for me. But it's a lovely piece of.
I'm on two minds. I don't really collect 3-inch, but I could make an exception for the Emperor. I think with that, especially with it being a nice playset, and I've already got a vintage Luke and a vintage Darth Vader to stand with it as well.
Well, you could do like a nice little setup then. Couldn't you?
That's what I'm thinking. And that's going to be the recommended retail price for that is $31.99. Again, it will be available this fall with HasCon. All these are exclusives to Pulse as well.
Oh, okay. I mean, to be honest with you, that kind of retail price as well. I mean, I could be tempted, even just as a mini setup, as a mini display in itself, just have that kind of.
As much as we're saying $31.99, though, it's probably going to be about £45 probably. In Britain. It's more expensive.
That's what I said about the Cantina set. It's $100, but it'll be £200 for us. So
I'll cry.
I play. The last one, obviously, was the great big box. Again, con exclusive, I believe. The Trapper Wolf, Dave Filoni character. People went mad for this. Absolutely mad for it. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his character only appeared in 2 of the episodes in Mandalorian.
Yep, 2 of the scenes.
He's not, as a character, he's not, huge. He's not kind of like.
I think it's more because it's Dave Filoni. He's the man who saved Star Wars.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not rushing out to get it, but I can completely appreciate why everyone would be. I think I would have gone. Kind of going back to what we said about creator sets and, the kind of, what did we call it? I can't remember what we called it, but, the Stan Lees, the Jack Kirby's and that.
Yeah.
I think I would have bought it more if it was a figure of him as opposed to disguised as a character kind of thing. So that's me. But yeah, I mean, thoughts on it? There's not really much to say about it, is there? It's
you know that I'm a big geek though for Dave Filoni. I love Dave Filoni, so I will be buying it just because it's him. He's gonna be stood with my rebels.
Yeah,
he's gonna be stood with Hera and in Ahsoka.
That's fine. I might. I'm not saying no, but I'm not jumping straight away to get it. So I think that was all for Black Series. I think that kind of covers it as a whole. Sticking with figures then, Marvel Legends, we haven't had any official images of anything this week. And
nothing this week.
Nope.
But we have got
a couple of...
Sorry, I know we're going to touch on it later, but we are getting the obviously the Marvel Legends panel again coming up.
Yes.
So the Friday, so that'll be the reason why they've kept quiet this week. I'm surprised nothing's leaked though. Normally,
exactly. Exactly. Well, it's FanFirst Friday, and it's on July 16th. Where obviously the guys from the Hasbro team are gonna do their thing. Dan from the team did hint that this isn't the only FanFirst Friday in July. So there's hints that there's going to be another one there.
Well, you've got to think Black Widow just released, so now the film's officially out. They can release the second wave of product. That's it.
Do you think there's another wave for Black Widow then?
Yes, there always is. They always do the first initial wave, which doesn't give you any information about the movie. Then they do the second wave, which will give some potential spoilers for the film away. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get into the film in a second. Maybe make some predictions of what might be in that second wave. If I'm totally honest, I think what we're going to see on this FanFirst Friday is the Eternals wave that we've seen leaked. Because that one's been leaked for days, like years, months even. That's what I was going with, days, weeks, months. But that was leaked months and months ago, wasn't it? And now that we've had the official trailer, I think that would be my guess as to what that's going to be. And they're definitely going to, the first Fan Friday as well, we'll probably touch on all the Spider-Man stuff from last week as well, because no, they didn't officially announce that, did they? That's it. They always like to kind of go back and revisit a few things that have dropped, previously. So yeah, I think that's probably a good shout. I did see a leaked image of Angelina Jolie's Eternals figure. I think the whole wave leaked at one point. I'm pretty sure the images are out there if you look for them now. It did, but I think Angelina Jolie, I can't remember the name of the character now. I've totally lost the name of the character. But hers wasn't included in the wave. And an image has now been leaked of that. So I think whether that's a Walmart exclusive or something like that. And it looks really like her. And obviously saw her in the trailer for the first time with like her swords and stuff. So that would be my guess. Yeah, but yeah, it's a bit weird not having anything concrete to talk about Legends-wise, as being a big Legends fan. Should we do Bad Batch first? Yeah, I think there's a lot more to talk about with Loki. Well, as we talk about Disney Plus as well, I'm not sure if you caught it, but I definitely watched it with my daughter this week. The Monsters at Work new television series. It's on my watch list. I did the Monsters Inc. spin-off, isn't it? Yeah. And I've seen you've reviewed a few of the figures as well. Looked at a few. Well, we did watch Luca though, and I've seen you dropping videos about the Luca figures. Absolutely loved it. Just Luca's a brilliant movie. It was fantastic. But no, what was the Monsters like? What was it? So it's basically set moments after Monsters Inc. has ended, where Mike and Sully have just sent Walter Noose away, and he's now in jail. Who was their previous CEO, and it's now the Laugh Factory rather than the Scare Factory. And it's about that changeover from the need scare monsters to needing comedians, and it's that whole transitional period and stuff. It's very decent cartoon though, because I was a bit like, oh, it's a weekly thing, it's going to be daft, but no, it's actually a good continuation of the story. And it's released episode a week, is it? Episode a week, yeah. Oh, amazing. He gave us the first 2 episodes this week, and then after that, it's an episode a week. I'll go and watch that. Go and watch that tomorrow, I think, before we get too much into other stuff. So let's talk Bad Batch then. Obviously, it's been a disappointing episode the previous week. We said that with Dave, didn't we? That we weren't too happy. It was a bit of a filler. This week, I absolutely loved. Oh, absolutely loved it. The young Hera.
and Chopper as well. Seeing Chopper, I was just like, it was a straight callback to Rebels, wasn't it? I mean, I couldn't tell you much more that went on with the episode because I was so focused on the kind of Rebels prequel kind of storyline. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I really
I'm hoping that sneaks in more. I'm hoping we start to see, maybe, because we didn't really see from Rebels, we never saw Ezra's parents. I'm wondering whether we're going to see that a little bit in like the beginnings of the rebellion.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Rebels.
That really would be interesting.
How Ahsoka got involved and things like that. I think that's where this is all going to lead.
That would be really good. I did think to myself that Bad Batch is leaning more towards a kind of a gap filler, like it's filling in those gaps that you kind of, because obviously it started off the same, didn't it, with a straight callback to Rebels, and you've had various different callbacks, like obviously the whole Jabba and Rancor episode that they did as well. So I really enjoyed it. I can't, there were so many little bits there that I was kind of like, yep, that's that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing in Rebels that Chopper came with her. It was just they were there as a collective. Did they mention
Chopper was her robot? She built Chopper.
Right.
They mentioned that in the later episodes with Thrawn, where she's got the the idol thing that she carries. That's like a mother maid or whatever. It's like the family heirloom. It was in that episode. They got Thrawn and that talking with her, and they kind of mentioned that she built Chopper. Basically, that Chopper's her robot.
Yeah, I must have missed that completely because I was straight away. I was like, did I miss that? did I know this information? Or, but I really enjoyed it. It was cool to see her kind of backstory. I'm
wondering whether we're going to maybe see the beginnings of Thrawn as well. I wonder if they're going to use any of the Thrawn novels from Marvel and maybe bring in, before he becomes Grand Admiral Thrawn, maybe he's lieutenant or something, or captain. Or
it's there, isn't it? I mean, it's a thing that the Star Wars kind of canon has kind of done, hasn't it? It's kind of pulled from various different stories and whatnot to kind of give us that backstory. So I think they've got the potential to. I really do think they've got the potential to. It'd be good to see it. It would be good to see it. And I'm kind of back on the train with it. After last week's episode, I was kind of like, I hope it's not, because they did that with Clone Wars, didn't they? There was kind of a couple of episodes where it was a bit slow, and like you kind of, I've already watched it for 6 series. I need to stick with it. So I'm glad that there wasn't too many that with Bad Batch that were slow. Okay, so let's get on to, unless you've got anything else to say about Bad Batch, I think we need to speak about Loki.
Yeah, Loki.
Penultimate episode 5 of 6. Absolutely cram filled with Easter eggs. Now, for anybody watching this, there's already been 1,000,001 videos that have kind of listed Easter eggs and all the rest of it. So it's not, there's no new information here. But as I was watching it, it was just enjoyable. I mean, straight away from the title, wasn't it? Journey into History. That was the debut comic for Thor and Loki anyway. So straight away when I saw the title, I was like, oh, I got that reference. Like, I understand that. And then it just didn't stop. I loved Richard E. Grant's classic Thor. Classic Loki, sorry. I thought he was fantastic. I was a bit disappointed to see him go at the end, but enjoyed it, if that makes sense. Like, it was a redeeming arc for that character. How many of the Easter eggs did you pick up on?
Not many, to be brutally honest. I'm not massive on the backstory. No, I'm not. I've not read many Loki comics in my life, so
there was a handful into the MCU as well. So let me list a few. These are the ones that I caught. There are more that are listed in kind of Easter egg videos and stuff. The big yellow jacket head. Did you see that?
Yeah, jacket head.
Yeah. So yellow jacket head's there, which kind of, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is what we were talking about with the quantum realm and all that kind of stuff. So that to me was an exciting one. Obviously, you must have seen the frog Thor in the jar.
No, I missed that completely.
What?
Missed that
when they went underground.
I have to rewatch that.
Oh, Sorrell, you have to. This is, when they open up to go down.
Yeah, to go down, and it pans down through the soil.
And there's the little character jumping up and down in the.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know.
That is Frog Thor, which was, obviously one of the versions of Thor that people have kind of gone, let's have this in a figure. Let's get this. I must admit, I had to go back and pause and zoom and all the rest of it to really notice that it was him. But obviously, hammer was right next to the jar. And if you look on the jar,
I saw the hammer. I remember seeing the hammer and getting excited about the hammer, but I didn't notice the frog.
No, so he's jumping trying to get it because then he gets it. The reason I picked up on it before I'd seen other people's videos and posts and whatnot as well, the reason I picked up and kind of figured out what was what is because on the jar it said T365. So I was like, if this is Marvel, like, I need to look into this. And Thor issue 365 is when he gets turned into a frog. So it was kind of, I was like, right, that's it. So zooming in and the rest of it. Must have seen the Thanos helicopter though. Come on.
Yes, saw the Thanos helicopter.
You saw that. That was because obviously that's just an ongoing joke, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't truly get that, to be honest. I saw there was a helicopter with Thanos written on it. I'm like, I didn't really understand that, to be honest.
In the comic books, Thanos had a helicopter at one point.
Right, okay.
And it literally looked exactly like that. It was a bright yellow helicopter that had Thanos written down the tail. So it literally was just taken straight out of the comic book. But you know, those that are kind of were aware of it beforehand have kind of said, can we get that as a rider? And I think the guy has kind of joked about that being a rider because it's a completely ridiculous, you know what I mean? It's almost like Spider-Man having a car, do you know what I mean? Or, you know, it's kind of Thanos having a helicopter just because, you know, like if you're busy and your arm's hurting from all the gauntlet stuff, just jump in your copter and fly away. There's a couple of other ships as well. There's a helicarrier there as well. There was Ronan's ship as well, the ship that Ronan used. There was a living tribunal head. Did you see that one?
Nope.
So one of the big stone statues is a statue of the living tribunal. You need to go back and rewatch it, Sorrell. There are so many. I'm going to be honest,
right? You know, that was the bit in the episode where the two are talking, him and Sylvie, they were talking on the field, and that conversation went on so long I briefly fell asleep and my brother nudged me. I was like, like I'm going here. I was sat there like
it was it. And we saw President Loki, didn't we?
President Loki finally, yeah.
Which is again a callback straight from the comics. You know, where there was the episode where he made president.
That's the comic I have read.
Interestingly enough as well, I know you've got a couple of your Funkos, haven't you? You're kind of dipping in and out of that. And they announced 4 Funko Pops this week. Did you see those ones?
I want the alligator so bad.
Yeah, Alligator Loki, President Loki, Classic Loki, I want to say, the Richard E. Grant one.
The Richard E. Grant one.
And there was another one, which was another version of Loki. But I can't off the top of my head. I
think it was the Thor main from the program. Loki.
Yeah, it might have been.
Pretty sure it was the main Thor. So it's the alligator, Richard E. Grant, the boy, and then it wasn't our Loki, but it was the President Loki.
But it was President. And we discussed that last week, didn't we? Called it and kind of said it might have been a week before. We said that was going to be a different version of Loki. What I thought was really cool though is that essentially everybody in that big brawl was Loki. They were all versions of Loki. Yeah. So, but what were your thoughts on the episode as a whole?
It was a good episode, but I'm still very what they do with these programs is, for me, sometimes they overcomplicate them a little bit. We don't know who the villain is yet, and we've got 1 episode to go, and it's only I've looked online, it's still only a 40-minute episode.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it's a stupidly long one. It just seems to be dragging on. We don't really know anything as to what's going on. It's confusing. No. Why is there a dragon in the sky that eats things? Why?
No, exactly. To be perfectly honest with you, my theory on who is the man behind the curtain has changed a little bit. There's a lot that points towards Kang still, even down to the smoke monster and everything like that we saw. Even he's got, I can't remember the name of him now, but he's even tied in with Kang as well, you know, in the comic books. But I honestly think that we're going to see Loki. I think that we're going to have this big build up and it's going to be Loki. It just makes so much sense, you know, with all the stuff about, and the reason I say it is because there was a whole dialogue about the alligator Loki, and they talked. I can't remember the exact words they said, but it was all about how Owen Wilson's character Mobius couldn't remember them arresting an alligator Loki, but they must have at some point. And then they're talking about it being a long con. And obviously the long con, the idea of a long con is, dragging it out until the end. So that kind of gives me hints that they're not going to necessarily introduce a brand new character with such a little amount of time to establish who they are. Yeah. And instead give us somebody that we know everything about as that kind of villain.
We might get Kang in a post-credit scene.
Possibly. Quite possibly.
Build him up like Thanos. You just see him in a throne or something in the room. Start building it up.
I mean, I would love it to be Kang because we know Kang's coming. I would absolutely love it to be Kang.
I think they would save that big reveal for Ant-Man, to be honest, like a big, a talking party thing. Like I say, I think the idea that it's a Loki makes more sense just because he's taking out other versions of himself, especially ones that are obviously quite powerful as well. He's already managed to beat them. The Richard E. Grant one seems to be quite full of his own power and seems to be quite decent with it. He was able to rebuild Asgard from the ground up, like an illusion or whatever it was. But
exactly.
For me, it would make more sense that it's another Loki that wants absolute power. And is the idea that they go there and that dragon eats them and absorbs their power to make this other Loki powerful or something? Is there something there like a magic draining thing?
Yeah, and I think at the end when they kind of opened up because they enchanted the
they opened up the portal, didn't they?
Can't remember I need to Google what the name is, but I can't remember what the name of the character is. But they opened that up, didn't they? And you saw the castle, floating on the meteorite or on the rock. And so many people have said, "Oh, it looks like Doom's castle," or "It looks like Kang's castle." But I think it's Loki's. I really do. I think it's just going to be. But then it begs the question of how does the series end? Do they kind of get there and they all destroy each other and it all just goes pop? Or does it lead on to Loki being involved somehow, some way going forward? I don't know.
How cool would it be if they linked it to one of the other programs to make the multiverse? And we had, this is completely just off the rails now, but imagine if literally the ending was them coming into the room, seeing evil Loki and he's got hold of Wanda's kids and that shout across time is what Wanda hears.
Yeah, I mean,
mental like that, and they have a post-credit scene of showing her like hearing it again or something.
Yeah, it could be doing. One thing I must admit that I really liked was the visual element of because we've mentioned Wizard of Oz the whole way through, haven't we? About the man behind the curtain, and I thought that opening up of the portal, and you had the green, you had the kind of castle in the background, you had the characters in the foreground, like moving towards it. It was very reminiscent of that yellow brick road towards the Emerald City, and I just it was just a nice kind of even if not intentional, it was just kind of a nice nod towards the theories that people have kind of had and stuff like that, which I enjoyed it. I really did, and it was one that there was a lot there for me.
Yeah, people thinking that it's Doctor Doom, I think they're gonna because obviously Doctor Doom gets the powers along with the Fantastic Four, so I mean. They haven't introduced the Fantastic Four yet, so
no, exactly.
He's not around yet as Doctor Doom in that sense for me.
No.
He's still just human Doom somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So they'd save that reveal for a Fantastic Four movie, surely.
Yeah, I think so.
It would be cool to see him already established as the King of Latvia or something, but I doubt they'd do that.
No, I don't. As I said, I mean, I can understand why people are saying it because.
He did look green, and Doom is green.
It's green. There's a big castle. Who lives in a castle? Oh, Doctor Doom. Who's come in? Doctor Doom. But it just wouldn't make sense. It just wouldn't make sense to me for the.
I read online somebody said, the place they went to get the Soul Stone where Black Widow was and died and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That looks a lot like the planet that they're currently on with Loki's. It looks very similar aesthetic, is what people are saying.
It does. Yeah, it does.
With all the purples and stuff.
I think it's just Marvel Studios kind of in this type of place in space. We have like this color palette, and in this, just so you kind of get an idea of where the characters are. Yeah, exactly. But no, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think that there's been a lot of theories flying around that the internet's going to be divided, and people are going to either absolutely love the way it ends or go, well, that was a big kick in the balls kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think it's been brilliant for the character. And as I said many times before, it wasn't a series that I was particularly looking forward to. It wasn't one that I was kind of like absolutely dying for, but it's one of the ones I've enjoyed the most, I think, just because I think Tom Hiddleston's Loki is so brilliant as well. and has just evolved over this last decade to be this absolute, you know, he's a villain at the end of the day, and you're absolutely rooting for him. You absolutely rooting for him. And we saw the Sphinx, didn't we, that I mentioned? I did mention that there was that shot of the Sphinx, but obviously in context of the episode, it made a lot more sense as to why there was a Sphinx there. And obviously we got Mobius back. And he's, interestingly enough, gone back to the TVA as well, isn't he? He's kind of, you know... he's
trying to bring it down from the inside now, apparently.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting to see how that's going to kind of pop up in future films or shows.
A lot of people have said as well that and I agree, that I think this program was more about introducing the idea of the multiverse for people that haven't read the comics. People like me and you that have read the comics get how Marvel works and that nobody truly dies, and you can get them, you can pull them from any universe you want. I think for regular people who just watch the movies, they needed this series to understand how the multiverse works and how ridiculous it can be, like with all the different Lokis. Even an alligator Loki and a frog Thor. You needed to see that to understand how mental the universe is.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I think it's a good one that they can then. There's so much information that's come out of it that anything bonkers that they do going forward, they can just refer to TVA or to, because the comic books used to do that as well. I remember, you know, that something would happen and then there's a little box at the bottom that says, you know, see Amazing Spider-Man 357 or something. Do you remember those little boxes? I don't know if they still do them in the modern comics, because I read a lot of them digitally now. But I remember in the old paper ones that, especially as a kid, when I didn't have this entire kind of back catalogue of comics, I'd be like, oh, I really want to read that, and kind of go off and source that story. And I think that's kind of what they're doing here, is that they're giving, like you say, they're giving the kind of regular fan or the kind of movie TV show only fan that kind of information to.
And now that you've seen all the Lokis together, it wouldn't seem as bonkers to see all the Spider-Mans together. I think that's another thing they've done there.
Yeah, that's very clever. Very clever move, isn't it? And Loki's the kind of character that you would kind of. I'm trying to imagine what it'd be like as somebody that hadn't read comic books and stuff. And I think Loki's one of the few characters that you could watch that and go, yeah, that makes total sense. You know, that's not crazy at all. Yeah, I thought it was good. And I really hope that we don't see the end of our Loki, like the Tom Hiddleston version. But at the same token, I kind of hope there is a transition. Obviously, Kid Loki's still alive. He, as far as we know, he's gone off somewhere. Interestingly, he had the flaming sword. I can't remember the name of it, but that's a Loki weapon, like from the comic books, and gave it to Tom Hiddleston. So it says to me, because he kind of passed that, actually passed the torch, really, didn't he? To Hiddleston's Loki, that's going to either go with Sylvie or it's going to go somewhere. It would seem like a bit of a throwaway to kind of go, I'm staying here and I'm going to pop up at some point. Here's this piece of stuff from the comics. Take that, then you die and we never see it again. It would feel like a bit of a cheap waste. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to Wednesday. It can't come around soon enough for that final episode.
Agreed.
So we're saying Loki. That's our. We're locking our bets in, and we're going to say it's Loki.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. The way it's been going, that would make sense.
All right, let's lock that in, and then if we're wrong, we'll talk about it next week. So let's get on to the biggest news of the week. Obviously, it was well overdue. It was due to be released in May 2020 over here in the UK, I believe.
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yes.
What day did you see it? Out of interest.
I didn't go to the cinema to see it like I originally planned. I actually bought it on Disney Plus on Friday.
Yep, I did the same. Only reason being, I am going to go and see it, but the person I was going to go and see it with can't make it. So I was like, I can't wait because I have to talk about this with Sorrell. And I couldn't avoid any spoilers or anything. So I watched it at home, which didn't disappoint me as much as I thought it would. I actually really enjoyed watching it at home.
I enjoyed watching it as well. I was at my parents' house and my dad and brother was there, and they're like, well, if we go to the cinema, it's going to cost us nigh on 40 quid between everyone. So 20 quid, let's get a pizza and watch Black Widow at home. So that's
100%.
Kind of what we did.
100%. All right. Without going too deep into storylines and stuff, where did you But what do you think? Was it a yes or a no or a?
It was a yes for me, and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was definitely it's a plot device to use for the secondary Black Widow, isn't it?
Yeah, you did
Florence
call
Pugh.
that, didn't you?
I said that all along.
You
it's
called it from the beginning. Yeah, you called that weeks ago. I've seen people online absolutely rave about it and be absolutely blown away by it, but then I've seen people who are like completely disappointed by it. For me, it ticked every box I expected it to. We know the arc of the character. We know that she's already dead, and this is going back, and it's filling a time between Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a huge amount that was going to happen that was going to, blow our minds as such. Obviously, we spoke about why we thought they held back as opposed to releasing it. And I think that really they just did that out of, I don't want to say respect, but out of kind of honor of the character, perhaps. And
the post-credit scene as well.
Yeah.
Is the reason I think they held it back. Because obviously now we're aware of who Veronica is. We're aware of that character. Whereas prior to the movie's release, that would have been our first view of Veronica. That would have been the first time we see her.
I did think that, but then I also thought, but would it have worked? Would we have been left thinking, well, who's that? What is she doing? And kind of,
I think I enjoyed the post-credit scene better after seeing Winter Soldier, to be fair.
Yeah. I agree, because you kind of know it. So let's start at the end then. Let's start with that post-credit scene, because that's what all Marvel fans love. They all love those post-credit scenes. And it was a long one, really, for we've seen some that are seconds before. You did. I'm going to give you that one. You 100% called it. Almost. I don't know whether you're looking at a script there or something, Sorrell, but you definitely called it.
We knew. Florence, like I said before, Florence Pugh is young enough to carry the title of Black Widow for the next 10 years, whereas Scarlett Johansson's already done it for 10 years. It's time for another actress to take the role. Yeah. And obviously in the comics, she does have we do have that same character, Bolivia. So it makes sense to have her as well as the secondary Black Widow. And obviously her character is going to fit in perfectly with John Walker. From the way she acts to things, unlike Widow, she's like, it's like that same dynamic between Cap and John Walker. US agent, he's a bit darker and a bit grittier, just like she's not exactly a squeaky clean Black Widow. She's more of a hunt and kill kind of girl.
They've not had the kind of the shield element added to them, have they? So I think it's definitely building up for some kind of Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts or something along those lines. It's going to be some kind of anti-team, isn't it, that we're going to see, I think. I was a bit blown away by the Clint Barton, this is your next target. I
think he's going to be in the TV series. I feel like she's going to pop up. Because obviously he's in the TV series, isn't he also meant to be training his daughter as well, Kate Bishop? In that
it's him and Kate Bishop. In that's the I haven't read a full synopsis or anything, but it's him and Kate Bishop. And my assumption was it's the passing of the torch and the, I was Hawkeye, here I am hanging it up, and you're now the new Hawkeye, like they did in the comics. So I think it's interesting how they've now tied that in, because I always felt a little bit sorry for the Hawkeye character. He's one of my favorite MCU characters, one of my favorite comic book characters, and I just thought, everybody else from that original setup of Avengers had their own solo film. And after Black Widow's solo film was announced, it was kind of like, okay, we've had a Cap film, we've had a Thor film, we've had an Iron Man film, we've got a Black Widow film come in. Obviously, we had a Hulk that's part of MCU, but even though it was a different banner and all the rest of it, but less we say about that, the better. But Hawkeye was the only one that didn't get his own kind of, this is it, he's now just got his own TV show. And I think Black Widow could have been a TV show as well. I don't think that there was anything, if they had broken that into kind of 6 parts, I think it could have worked almost the same. So it's a shame he's not going to get it, but I do like the fact that they tied it in. Okay, so that's the post-credit scene. Wasn't much more from that, was there? It was
just the introduction of Veronica, then the passing of here's the new target, and she's basically going to become the next Widow. She was, and that was at Black Widow's grave as well. So this is after Endgame now. So obviously the film was set pre in between Civil War and thingy. So this, obviously, the end credit scene is actually after Endgame.
So it would actually tie in with the end credit scene of so the Hawkeye, but also the end credit scene of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes,
because that again is also, this is all taking place at the same time, which is exciting. Okay, so the other big kind of reveal, if you like, was Taskmaster.
Yeah,
there was a lot. See, there was lots and lots of speculation that it was a woman because of the way the figure was produced. Do you remember hearing these whispers about the foot on the figure being smaller, and everyone was and I'd forgotten about that. By the time the film came out, I'd completely forgotten about all that talk.
They're gonna give us a Marvel Legend of her out there with the unmasked version, and nobody's gonna because that was the
exactly. I'm wondering whether we will, because they refer to her as the Taskmaster something, wasn't it? It wasn't you are Taskmaster.
The way they were building it up, I thought it was going to be bloody Red Skull's daughter after everything they were saying, because it would have made more sense.
No, that's true. But it was like the Taskmaster Initiative or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. So I wonder whether that's going to be, because she's now gone off with the Widows, hasn't she? She's kind of, that whole bit at the end where she went off with the other Widows. So I wonder whether we're going to see another Taskmaster that's a bit more fit into the comic books. Using that kind of Taskmaster Initiative, or however it was they worded it. I was a little bit disappointed by that, not going to lie. It was supposed to be the kind of big moment, and it wasn't really.
No,
I loved Ray Winstone's character. I loved.
Took me a while to even realise it was him. To be fair, he was playing such a good role. I didn't recognize him straight away. It wasn't.
He was really good. He was really good. And something else I really enjoyed was the way that they had Melina and Alexei posing as like Black Widow. Essentially her parental figures, which I thought was a really cool tie-in, because you don't really know anything about her family. And one thing that in the kind of promotion material and stuff, I was like, okay, here's some new characters that are going to drop in, and we're going to expect to kind of just really enjoy them and stuff. But I thought it was a really nice way of kind of going, no, these guys are part of the bigger picture because they've been there since before these characters were who you were. And I thought it was really well done, the way that they were kind of really distant from the two girls, but then also not, like, actually did care for them and stuff. I thought that was good.
I really hope they bring back Red Guardian, because he was the comedy relief of the film, and he was funny as one.
He was. I can never pronounce his surname. Not the character, the actor.
Harbour,
isn't it? It's Harbour, not Arbor. It's just David Harbour. I think he's a man. I was introduced to him through Stranger Things. I don't know what else he did before that, but that's where I was introduced. And I think he's fantastic. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. And I thought he played the part brilliantly.
He was good as the new Hellboy as well, but it's just a shame the rest of the film failed around him. But he was actually a good Hellboy.
I think if we didn't have the original Hellboy films, it could have had a better, because he looked the part, didn't he? He looked and acted the part. But there's no beating Ron Perlman, is there? Like, he is just, even without all the makeup on, like, Ron Perlman. It is, isn't it? Interestingly, though, I didn't see Red Guardian's shield.
No, he didn't use it.
Not once.
He used Taskmaster's shield towards the end, and I think he's stolen Taskmaster's shield now. I think he's going to turn that into the Red Guardian shield.
Quite possibly. But the figure came with one, didn't it? The figure came with a shield, and even the new figure, there's the Melina and Red Guardian 2-pack that's coming out any day now, I suppose. And even that one's got a shield in it, I believe. But we didn't see it in the film.
I think we're definitely going to see those characters again because they're still alive. The widows are still a thing, but now they're just good guys, I suppose, rather than assassins.
Just some kind of.
So they're going to do something, I think.
Yeah, but I was really shocked to not see him. I mean, there was the whole speech that he talked about Captain America and him and Captain America going toe to toe. But is that a story that he's fabricated? Is it? We don't know, do we?
We have to.
Oh yeah, because the dates he was saying, you know how
it was on ice.
Yeah, the way I worked it out in my head is I was kind of like, you know what, he's been in this place for so long, and he's clearly, you know, maybe he's getting things confused or whatever. But I would love to. I mean, I did an Instagram post ages ago, I think, when I first got the Red Guardian figure, of like him and Captain America just kind of fist pumping. So I was like, I wanted to see these two on screen, but they announced Red Guardian as a character after we obviously knew that Captain America was dying. So I was like, I'm never going to see it. But I was just really shocked to not see the shield. We had that whole speech about him and Cap hiding behind his shield and stuff. But I don't know. I thought we would see it, and I need to kind of maybe go back and rewatch it. Like, is it in the background somewhere, and he just didn't bring it with him? But yeah, I was really shocked. I like the little call out as well with Yelena called him Crimson Dynamo.
Yeah, Crimson Dynamo, yeah.
Which obviously is another character in Marvel Comics.
I laughed at that. Nice. I laughed at that. My brother and my dad were like, "That's not even funny." Like, yeah, but it's a comic book reference.
It is. And the action figure as well. I just, as an action figure collector,
I hope they release that. That's off as well.
Oh no, they've released it as an accessory, haven't they? In the 2-pack.
Yeah, but I mean, like a proper 6-inch version of it, like
actual,
like just like in the film with the head that pops off as well and everything.
Wave 2, it will just be a figure of him that the head falls off. What else did I have about? What else was it? General Ross. We had General Ross at the beginning, didn't we? But he looked different. You know, I don't know whether he's just kind of been on diet or, you know, what, but he just looked different to how we've seen him. He's getting older now anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, we got to think that this was filmed prior to lockdown, prior to COVID. So this was a few years ago now, and this film was filmed, technically.
That's true. That is true, actually. But it was nice to sort of see him and how he's like a continuation.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, at that point, he's still hunting the Avengers, isn't he? He's still trying to put them all away for being, for not joining the Accords.
And I like that there was a lot of discussion about that. A lot of talk of obviously the different Avengers that were on the run and who was in the raft prison and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Again, you know, as a fan of Hawkeye, I loved the fact that they revisited that kind of Budapest thing and, you know, what happened there and what went down, because it's been like an ongoing mystery, hasn't it, about what's actually happened. And they kind of, you know, shed a lot more light onto what actually happened there. And from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was all about her. That was where she obviously joined S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's where she killed what's his name's daughter as well. Mm-hmm. And there was that little nod, wasn't there, in the apartment when she was like, "Oh, what bullet makes these holes?" And she was like, "No, they're arrows." And it was like, "Oh no, I get that." And it was his voice as well on the comm as well. It was Clint Barton on the comm, which I thought was nice. It was nice, but all in all, I really enjoyed it. It
did what it needed to do for me,
and there was enough little references there as well. Things like her dyeing her hair blonde, like you saw her with the hair dye, didn't you? And you knew that she was then on the run, and that was why she was going to dye her hair. So I like that, and the whole thing with the vest as well. All that speculation wasn't there on the. You know, I remember when the trailer came out, and there were so many people going, "Oh, look! If you look carefully, it's the same jacket that she wears in Infinity War, and does that mean that she's going to die and she's wearing it out on her?" And actually, it was just a case of, "Oh, you like it? Like, have my jacket."
She took it, and she was taking the mick out of it halfway through the film.
Yeah, exactly.
So many pockets.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought it was solid. I thought it was a solid film. I really enjoyed it. I like the whole Red Room thing, the way that the Red Room is kind of has always been there, and
the film had a very dark beginning though. For a Disney movie, a Marvel movie, that beginning was a bit harrowing for me as a father as well. I'm like, oh, that were a bit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I am with you on that one.
So I remember reading. I think it was Mark Carmichael. I think he did like one of his breakdowns and stuff. And he said Marvel had an opportunity to say something about that kind of the human trafficking and that kind of thing, and they didn't. They just kind of left it there.
They could have.
They could have done they were saying, like, I know it's political, and they don't get really political, but it was one of the moments where they were showing it, so do something about it, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But that's the story of Black Widow. They couldn't have done anything about it. That's how it begins.
No, it was very dark. And And at that point, I didn't realize. I started watching the film, perhaps like other people, and I was like, "Wow, are they writing it in that Red Guardian is actually Black Widow's dad here, and he's the one that sent her off?" And I was like, "Wow, this is twisted here." But then there was that part where obviously they get to Cuba, wasn't it? And then he kind of just goes, "Oh no, go with them. Like that's fine, you're okay." And she sort of says, "Oh, I can't go back there," and she can't go there. And he's like, "No, you're okay. Like, go for it." And I thought, wow, like this guy has got zero chill. Just like,
I like as well that they made it so that Black Widow was already aware that she was a sleeper agent for the, the USSR or whatever. But it was the other character, I forgot. I keep saying her name. Elena Belova. It was her. It was her that was obviously she was too young to be told anything, so she thought it was all real. She genuinely thought Red Guardian and I think it was her parents.
Melina was the parents. Yeah.
She says that halfway through the film, didn't she? It was like it was real for her.
Yeah, but I think it gave a real insight into the character and the background, and because we've only seen it in like flashbacks and stuff, haven't we? Like what happened.
Yeah.
And it's kind of made me want to kind of go, because Disney Plus have done this. I don't know if you must have noticed, but they've done like the Black Widow collection and kind of listed up all the films that are there. And I kind of want to go back and watch these all now and sort of kind of see the story as a whole.
Because when they first introduced her, it was in Iron Man, wasn't it? And she was just there to be ogled at. Let's be brutally honest. That fight scene with Tony Stark in the boxing ring was just But have you seen the Legends shorts that they've done on Disney Plus, where they kind of give you the background of the character? I watched the one for Scarlet Witch before the TV series started.
Well, they've done one for Black Widow as well. I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't seen that one yet.
And it's quite good. I mean, it's quite long as well. I think it's about 6-7 minutes. But yeah, I was like, that's cool. But it's actually made me want to go back and watch the character, because I think, that they mentioned a few times in the film, you're not a superhero, you're just a spy kind of thing. And I thought it was, I really enjoyed it. I'd definitely go and watch it again. I've watched it on Disney Plus. I'm definitely going to go and see it in the cinema, just so that I can say I've seen it in the cinema.
Well, on the internet, have you seen the YouTuber CinemaSins? Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
The guy that rips movies apart. Well, me, my brother and my dad watched it, and then the next night I got the film thought it was Saturday this morning before I started work. My brother was watching it in my living room this morning, as you do, and he was literally doing the voice for CinemaSins, and I could not stop laughing. The bit where the car flips over and the somehow survives, like she survives this, ding, and it's like he kept doing little dings that were making me absolute hour laughter. I was like, she's not my girlfriend in this scene, ding.
No, brilliant. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go and see it.
One thing else we've got to talk about this week that we forgot about as well, that's come out from Marvel Studios, the What If trailer. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Talk about multiverse.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. You what? Sorry.
Some of those are a little bit mental. That's a little bit crazy looking.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So we've got Captain America, Peggy Carter, the switch around there. You got T'Challa as Star-Lord. You've got Gamora as like Thanos kind of character. There's obviously the Marvel Zombies element. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, mashup, crossover, something there.
And we've got this. The sad part is this is going to be the last time that we hear Chadwick Boseman's voice. It's actually Chadwick Boseman in the program.
Is it really?
It's his last performance as T'Chaka.
Oh wow, that's good. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's good. Nice little little nugget of information there. And
as well, we're getting my favorite thing is Seth Green is doing the voice of Howard the Duck.
Excellent.
So I hope they keep Howard the Duck in the MCU. I know he's kind of had an appearance before, but I hope they kind of keep him in and do something with him with Seth Green's voice. That would be.
I do as well, because obviously he had the little cameos at the end credit scenes, and obviously in what was it, Guardians 1 or Guardians 2, and he had that tiny cameo in Endgame as well, and on the battlefield walked out and stuff. I'd love to see Howard the Duck, just to kind of eliminate that. What was it, late 80s movie that we had?
Oh, that was diabolical.
Just even
as a kid, though, I loved it.
That. Oh, I did as well.
I've seen that as a kid, but yeah,
one of my favourites. but yeah, I think the what if. I mean, there's already a teased what if Marvel Legends wave coming out.
Yep.
Which, interestingly enough, people have tagged the Sylvie figure onto. Now, I don't know if that's official, but they've kind of. No, I didn't think so, because I thought. Well, I think she'll
just be. I think she'll be just a standard box release, and it'll be just an exclusive, probably Target more than likely. It'll be an exclusive,
exactly.
Somewhere, won't it?
Exactly. And as well, when speaking of figures, something happened kind of with Diamond Select recently. I don't know if because the Watcher figure is really sought after. It's a really difficult one to get, isn't it? Did you notice that it dropped? Yeah. So all major retailers kind of were like, we've got this coming back in October, I think it is. And it's, at retail price. And this was UK, US, like everywhere was kind of going mad. And loads of people pre-ordered it and stuff. And I wonder whether that's because
the Watcher
with the what if, the Watcher is going to be the bath in the what if. It'd make sense. It'd make perfect sense to do that. So I'm kind of like, do I go for the Diamond Select? Do I hold out for a particular bath?
I've got the Diamond Select on order. As soon as they announced it, I'm like, mine. I wanted that for years.
100%. It's such a nice figure. And there's a few of the Diamond Select that work really well. And I think a character with an enormous head works perfectly for scale wise. It works out. But yeah, and they released a poster as well for the What If series. I'm really excited for it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it's, to have these kind of one-shot kind of stories that kind of have nothing to do with the
fact that it's all the official cast doing the voices. For me, just that alone, the fact that they've gone to the effort to hire them all back to do it. It's great.
Is Robert Downey doing the voice as well?
I did have it up a second ago. Let me get the listing.
I think he might be the only one that's not. I might be wrong.
I don't know, because they've got everybody else. Let's have a look. Starring. So it's actually Hayley Atwell as Peggy Carter, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, Josh Brolin for Thanos, Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, Karen Gillan's back, Jeff Goldblum's back, Seth Green's coming in, Frank Grillo, Rock, Sean Gunn, Chris Hemsworth's even on it, Tom Hiddleston's on it, Samuel Jackson, Michael B. Jordan. Where is Iron Man on this list, though? Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, so they're not right. So Mark Ruffalo's in it, Paul Rudd's in it, Jeremy Renner, Natalie Portman's back, Sebastian Stan, Stanley Tucci, and Chris Sullivan are the main cast. Additionally, it says Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, the Collector, Stephen Strange, Carol Danvers, and Spider-Man will all be voiced by different people.
There you go. So some big names there that aren't. That's a shame. That is a shame. But that's a huge list that you just read off of returning cast. So there will be enough there for it to not feel
too
Yeah. No, I'm not too bothered about that. One last thing then with Disney Plus. Did you watch The Simpsons?
I haven't yet. Very good.
It's all right. I love these little Simpsons crossovers now that Disney and Simpsons have got this kind of, and they did the Star Wars.
Star Wars was brilliant.
And there was so many little Easter eggs in there that it was just like, it was so enjoyable. And it's very similar to that. It's not, it's not anything to write home about, but it's kind of like, I think there's even someone in it at one point holding up a sign that says this is what happens when Disney buys Fox or something like that. I don't know, but it was enjoyable. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long. It's worth a watch. It's definitely worth a watch. But no, I think that's about it for the week. Is there anything else big that you saw that landed anywhere?
So Diamond Select for San Diego Comic-Con have announced that they're doing the Karate Kid Cobra Kai figures.
So
they've got a special box for the Karate Kid. I forgot his name.
Daniel Russo.
Daniel Russo. Yeah. His Cobra Kai character's coming in a box that folds out and it makes the dojo.
Oh, cool.
Mr. Miyagi's dojo. So that was everyone's kind of in awe of that. So if you fold the box out, it looks like the dojo. So you can do some decent photography in there, probably.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But yeah, other than that, I'm just gonna double check on anything else, but I think that was pretty much it. I don't know about you, but I use toyarc.com when I want to know news about action figures.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Cobra Kai news was the Diamond Select release. It's going to be with exclusive packaging that comes out very soon for pre-order. Other than that, just McFarlane's Toys are doing the Witcher, Netflix versions.
Yes. Yeah.
And other than that, NECA has teased the new Alien merch coming at Comic-Con, but it was just a black and white image. There was nothing really to go on.
Oh, right.
But they're doing something Alien for Comic-Con.
Of course.
How are they doing Comic-Con this year? Is it online? Because SDCC got cancelled for this year, as far as I'm aware.
I think it's the same as they did last year, where they just doing like an online event. I've not, to be perfectly honest with you, my ears were to the ground for the Hasbro stuff, just because of Black Series and Legends.
Mm-hmm. And
as soon as Hasbro weren't announced at Comic-Con, I was kind of like, okay, I don't need to focus too much on that. Like, I'll see it when it happens, kind of thing.
Hasbro have got all my favorite things under one roof now, so I don't really listen to anyone else's news. Hasbro have got Ghostbusters, they've got Marvel, they've got Star Wars.
Oh, I know their catalog is huge, isn't it?
They've now got Fortnite. Insane.
Oh, I know. Did you see that there was one last thing on G.I. Joe there? That there was prototypes found in a bin outside of their thing. I'll have to send you the picture. I'm not going to say anything on here because I don't want to give any spoilers or upset anyone, but I'll send you the pictures of what was found in the bin. Somebody sent them to me, but as I'm not a massive Joe fan, I was like, oh, well, I'll hold on to these until I know who would enjoy them. But yeah, they found some prototype heads of characters that they've not released yet in the bin. So that either means that they threw them out or they're coming.
And other than that, the only good news I got was from my Hasbro rep, was the fact that we're getting the Dungeons Dragons figures will be released in Europe now as well. Oh, brilliant! So the Forgotten Realms character, I forgot his name, the Dark Elf.
With the wolf, and
that's coming as a Hascon exclusive, but it's going to be UK, so UK can finally get that. But it's going to be the first. It's going to be the first in a line of releases from what I've read online. That isn't from Hasbro, but Hasbro have said the Dungeons Dragons are coming to Europe, and we're having that license now as well. So hopefully we'll get the rest of the line.
Yeah, definitely. They're a nice. I think the thing is, anything that's Disney or Hasbro kind of has my attention. It's like they're the two powers that be for me. And as you say, I mean, and the nice thing is the figures are all kind of so interchangeable that you can kind of.
I've been surprised. The fact that Hasbro work very closely with Disney because they produce Marvel and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I've been surprised for years now that Disney haven't cashed in with Hasbro to make a toy line of something else.
Oh, I know.
They make all of their other doll products, things like that. So you'd have thought they'd have made like a Legend style, figure line. Because I know that Mattel are making the Pixar Spotlight figures. Have you seen those announced?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Pixar Spotlight figures look absolutely amazing, almost Legend style in those boxes.
Yeah, they look really good.
Why didn't Hasbro offer to do that for Marvel? They already make the rest of the stuff for the other franchises. I don't get why Mattel had to do it.
No idea. And it must be something to do with contracts or something.
Oh yeah, definitely within the powers that be, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it for the week. I mean, it's felt like a massive overload of like with the film and the series, and then obviously the Black Series stuff coming out. It's felt like there's been a lot to talk about. So yeah, so cool. Obviously next week we would have rounded up Loki, so we'll see where that's going. And I would assume there's going to be a lot more figure reveals. I'm guessing we'll get. When's the actual Marvel Con? Did they say the 19th? Was that next week? No, 16th, July 16th is the FanFirst. So next week Friday. We'll have that as well to talk about. We'll have the FanFirst Friday and the roundup of Loki. Yeah, so that's quite a lot there. Cool. All right then. We'll call that a week, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, if you're enjoying the show, please do like, share, subscribe, and all of those things that we ask you to do. Do check the description for SuperSorrell's channel, and do make sure to give him a follow. And check us both out on Instagram. Both our links are down in the description as well. So until next week, I think that's about it. We need to get you a sign off. I need a sign off of some kind, don't I? So every week I'm just like, I don't know what I don't. I need to come up with something. I need to come up with every week you look at me as in, have you thought of one yet?
I love the awkward ending to the podcast.
It's just
it's stay cool, guys.
Just next time we'll be here. I don't know. I'll come up with some at some time. I will. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Do like, share, and subscribe. And until next week, take care of yourself.
Yeah.